I think I was more outspoken than any governor in the country regarding school choice, believing that the only way to really reform education was to bring competition to public education. So for 6 straight years as governor of New Mexico, I proposed a full-blown voucher system that would have brought about that competition. Now, it didn't pass the legislature, but you know, when it came to the debate and the discussion that went along with it, I remember when I started this out in New Mexico that 35% of New Mexicans supported school choice. And when I left office, I want to say the number was about 57 when I left office.
Help us understand the politics of school choice, and we'll start with vouchers, because it seems like a program that would mostly benefit the poor. The poor mostly vote for Democratic candidates, and yet those are not the candidates that most often propose school choice and vouchers. What is this disconnect from your point of view?
Well, the disconnect ends up to be the teacher unions that actually perpetuate this. And if you were to ask any student in America today, what's the number one thing that the government could do to improve education, I suggest to you that 95% of students would answer, pay teachers more, spend more money. So it really, it's self-perpetuating. It's teachers, and it's them not recognizing the opportunities that would exist for further education, just better education.
What you don't know, Governor, is that you're empowering the 1%ers, the corporate elite. They want to take over education and steal billions of dollars from our children.
What I think politicians do a horrible job on, or actually I don't say job, politicians for the most part promote crony capitalism, promote big business as opposed to promoting free market. If we had genuine free market approaches to education and the delivery of educational services, we would have anything but big corporate America participating in this. We would have a groundswell of educational entrepreneurs that would deliver better products, better services at much lower prices.
You're a presidential candidate, but as you know, education is not normally on the radar in presidential debates and presidential stump speeches. It's normally just considered a state and local issue. And yet, if you look at the Federal Department of Education and its growth with No Child Left Behind and also the Race to the Top initiatives and the new Common Core curricula efforts, there are a lot of federal involvements affecting education. What are your thoughts on whether that's a good idea?
Well, I think that the number one thing that the federal government could do when it comes to the delivery of education would be to abolish itself from the educational business. I don't think people recognize that the federal government gives each state about 11 cents out of every school dollar that every state spends, but that it comes with 16 cents worth of strings attached. That it's really a negative to take federal money because of the strings attached. So if we just get the federal government out of education, and I think it's also important to point out that the Federal Department of Education was established in 1979, and there is nothing to suggest that since 1979 that the Federal Department of Education has been value added regarding anything. So just get the federal government out of education, give it back to the states, 50 laboratories of innovation and best practice, and I think that's exactly what we will have. We'll have some fabulous success that, in my opinion, will be with states that actually implement school choice or bring competition to public education, but we'll have some fabulous success that will get emulated in a 50 laboratory competitive state environment. We'll also have some horrible failure that will get avoided, but a much better model to see dramatic educational improvement as opposed to Washington top-down, Washington knows best, because they don't.